How's it going, man?
Yeah, everything is good. How you are doing?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for offering to speak and chat with me. It's pretty
Uh, it's
cool
my
because
pleasure.
I was watching some of your other videos, and I was like, oh shoot, this dude has interviewed a lot of people. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, firstly, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
For sure, man, for sure, for
So I've
sure.
gone through your profile. I can see you have done a lot of work in AWS, and I can see you have done a lot of certifications, and you're working in cloud as an engineer, also a DevOps engineer. So I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience.
hmm
So can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, so Ifeanyi Otuonye. I am from the beautiful country of Turks and Caicos Islands, which is in the Caribbean. Very small country, but we're known for our sun, sand, and sea. Very small country, only about 50,000 people. But I'm a tech professional, cloud engineer, and one of my passions is just cloud digital transformation, and just leveraging automation for efficiency. I'm also a professional track and field athlete, and I'm on the end of my career. So now transitioning fully into cloud engineering career.
So that's great. I'm a cricket player, a professional cricket player, represented for my
Hey,
state.
what? Okay, athlete to athlete. That's crazy. I love it. I love it.
So I saw
Uh,
your photos and
mhm,
your sports photos. I thought like I'm going to meet not only a tech professional, also a professional like me who is a
mhm.
professional sportsman.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, coming from the professional world of athletics and then professional world of tech and stuff, there's a lot of similarities in some of the things which allows you to prosper and to thrive in these in these two careers. Some people will not realize how much they entwine together. You know.
So about your technical journey and technical work, what you are presently doing?
So currently, for the past 6 months, I was actually in a cloud development program, which took you to a 6 months, 24-week program of just being exposed to some of the major industry technologies like Linux, Python, AWS, Kubernetes, Terraform, Docker, those stuff like that. And we just finished that. And for me, I was so fortunate to I was a student in that program, but I'm now transitioning to actually be a coach. So now I will be teaching others who will be joining the program.
So you already got trained and now you're going to train.
Yeah, perfectly. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to train.
And you have done AWS certifications.
Yes. So even before I started the program, I was doing some self-study, reading, and just getting resources by myself, getting exposed to cloud. I didn't know what cloud was. And I ended up getting my the first certification, AWS, the foundation one, certified cloud practitioner, and then I got the solutions architect associate, and then I got the developer, and then I joined the program, and then from there I just got really obsessed with AWS and just started continuing to upskill and just get more certifications and just keep trying to push myself to see, how far I can go.
So is this your full-time job, getting trained and now you're going to train people?
Yeah, so well, actually, this one is part-time. So it's usually done for people who, on the program usually accommodates people who have full-time jobs. So we actually, coach during the evening. So as far as the full-time jobs, actually, I haven't. I'm still like I just got out of the program, so I'm still looking for roles now, like full-time cloud engineering roles. And then this one fell into my lap. So this one is part-time, but now I'm inside the job search of finding a full-time cloud engineering role now.
But the certifications that you have done is a lot. Actually, I'm like wondering how you are able to do solutions architect, cloud advocate, and also the
Mhm.
foundational one. Do you have technical background?
Yeah, so it's crazy because I I have a degree in information systems, but during that time when I was doing the degree, I don't even think I was paying that much attention to it because I was also being a athlete at the same time representing my school. So I was so focused on being an athlete that those 4 years I got my degree, and then I also went and got my MBA, which is a Master of Business Administration. But then after I graduated with my MBA and bachelor's degree, I ended up working in sports as a sports events project manager. So as far as my technical abilities that I learned when I was in school, I didn't really get to use it in a professional way in the workforce. Because as soon as I graduated, I went into sports, and just because my country felt like I had a lot of international experience in sports and events, and they wanted me to bring that to the country and as an event coordinator, as an event project manager. So I did that for about a year or 2 years. And then after a while, I felt, man, this is not this is not a career for me. Like, because I recently got married, and I started thinking of the future, long term, like what is going to be able to provide for my family, what really matters, something that's going to be set up my family, like my generation after me. Like I needed something that also something I was passionate about. So when I was working in the sports, it was something that I loved doing, but it wasn't something I liked in administration. The administration part, I didn't have fun doing that. Sporting events are every weekend. So it's usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we had events like every week for the whole year. So imagine you just got married and every weekend you're gone in the event. I couldn't spend time with my wife, couldn't spend time with just like stuff that I love, and it started to drain me a lot. And I realized, I needed more and I wanted more. And I did remember, growing up, I did love tech stuff. I used to fix, people's desktops, mod, PlayStation, PSPs, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation 2s, just doing a bunch of mods and stuff like that. And that is what I love. That is what, that drove me. And that's what was my passion. The stuff that I just naturally love. So the past year, I said, okay, I got to get out of this industry, the sports industry. So I decided to make my own plan to get into the tech industry. And I started that because I didn't know what I was doing and no one was really guiding me. I didn't have a mentor. I just knew I had one goal. I need to break into tech. I need to get out of the sports industry. So I decided I felt like certifications was the best structured pathway for me to say, okay, if I pass this, I would have learned enough information to be able to apply it to something. I didn't want to just read books and just continue from there. So I started off learning the first three CompTIA certifications, which is A plus, Network Plus, and Security Plus. So I felt like that would give me a foundation of everything tech. Everything tech comes from how computer systems are built, how computer systems communicate, and how you secure computer systems. So I felt if I did this three, I'll have a good foundation. So I, doing work, I would, 'cause I still was an athlete. So I wake up in the morning, I'll train from like 6 a.m. to about 8:30 and have about 30 minutes to run home, shower, get ready, and be at work at 9 o'clock. Some days I have to come late. I have to come late like 9:20, 9:15. But after work, I used to come home like 5 o'clock, and from like 7 straight to maybe like 12, sometimes 1. I'll just be studying, like studying and just working and working and working. Like it was an insane drive in me because I knew what I wanted and I knew where I was not where I wanted to be. So in like 3 months, no, it was 4 months. I got the A plus, the Security Plus, and Network Plus. And when I posted on social media, people were like, "Yo, how the heck did you do this in 3 months? Like people are taking a whole year to pass maybe like the A plus or Security Plus." I'm like, I didn't even know how long it's supposed to take. All I knew is I had a drive, and I sought out resources online. Like, okay, this is how you pass it. You use this resource, study this video course. And I just did it in 4 months. And I was like, okay, this is great. Now, where do I go from here? But I realized that during that phase of learning and just being exposed to tech and what's the new technology, cloud computing kept on coming up. It's just something that just kept on resurfacing, resurfacing. So I was like, let me take a stab to this. Like, what is this cloud computing thing? Because to me, I'm just used to servers on premise, like that type of stuff. So when this cloud computing came up, I'm like, okay, this seems like something magical. Like, like this doesn't make any sense. How does this thing work? Like, how does, cloud, everybody, when you ask somebody what is cloud computing, they're like, oh, is it like iCloud? I'm like, yeah, I'm like iCloud. That's the best way I can explain it. But, the cloud computing, the whole thing, just the concepts of it just interested me. And it was something that was fascinating to me. And when I started diving deeper into it, it was exciting. And then, a lot of people say your passion or your purpose, you find your purpose, but I felt like cloud computing found me. As I started my journey, I didn't seek out for it. It just popped up because I started. I put my first foot forward. So that's like great advice. I always tell people, like, if you're trying to find your purpose, you're trying to find what industry you're going to go in, you can just spread your wings wide and just be exposed to many things. And then you end up finding out what you like, or what you like might end up finding you. So after that, I said, okay, let me dive into the foundation certification of AWS, which is AWS certified cloud practitioner. That's like the foundational one. And when I took that certification, I was blown away. Like, I loved it. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. Like, this is it. And for me, personally, AWS has a close place in my heart because when I first got introduced to it, I don't know how exposed you are or knowledgeable you are of the different services. The names of the different servers in AWS just blew me away. Like, the names of, DynamoDB, Lambda, EC2, and just like, who comes up with these names for services? And that just blew me away. I'm like, yo, these people are revolutionizing what's happening. They're innovating. Even their names are cool. So I dove deeper into it. And then after the CCP, I realized this is what I want to do. So that's when I went to the solutions architect. Then I went to the developer. And during that time, I was still in the get certifications, get a job. But then I realized that later on, I realized, getting certifications is it's not going to get you the job. Like, just having the knowledge and understanding is good and is great, but you have to be able to show these employers the work you've put in via projects or certain things that you've done, and you can show either portfolio and your hands-on work that you've done. So after that time, I think I was kind of figuring out what's next because I have these two certifications, which are great, but I can't land a job. I don't know what's next. So that's when I decided to join Level Up in Tech, which this program, I did over 21 different projects and documented every single one on Medium and was able to use LinkedIn as a platform to leverage what I was doing. I was painting a picture to every single one. Like, every single day I learned something in the program. I'll post it. People interact with it. I'll post a project. Next thing I know, hired managers, people with 10 years experience in engineering started commenting and following me. I'm like, why? These people have so much experience. Like, why are they so interested in me? And there are a lot of people who are like a year behind me started, asking me questions like, hey, how did you do this? Like, I'm trying to follow you. Like, can you mentor me? And that's when I started realizing that a lot of times, um, the best person who can mentor you is the person who's just a step ahead of you, because the stuff that he or she did is relevant in their brains and their minds. So they can tell you exactly what they did. Hey, you're doing this. This is what you need to do, because when I did this, it didn't work out. I can direct you and give you some advice based on what I did. But, someone who has 10 years experience that sometimes can't really relate on what's going on now. They can help you generally, but the person who is, just like ahead of you, is some of the best people that you can ask for help. I started realizing a lot of people started asking me for help, and I felt I don't even have a job yet. I don't even, I just started the program. Like, why are you asking me for help? And then I started, kind of embracing that role that, a lot of people are looking up to you on LinkedIn because, a lot of people think if I learn how to program, I learn how to do Hello World, which is like, the first program that you do when you learn programming, Hello World. And people think that's not significant enough to post on LinkedIn. But the thing is that there's someone right behind you who doesn't even know how to type or write any single sentence in hello world. So you wrote hello world, another person's looking at you like, yo, how did you do that? Like, how did you make hello world? Like, how did you make your computer spit out hello world to you? And to them, that's like the greatest thing that's ever happened. To you, you're like, yo, this is simple. So if you look at it like that and on your journey of trying to transition to a different career, trying to break into a different industry, like you have to kind of like learn in public, which is kind of you be vulnerable enough to be able to do that, which is kind of tough for some people. But that has helped me in my journey right now, and I know like in the next, it's coming soon that I will land a job, and when I do, when I post it on LinkedIn, I know a lot of people is going to be happy. Like, yo, I knew what's going to happen sooner or later. Yeah, so that's me, man.
I can see my mirror image in your story and your career that you said, because when you're telling like waking up in the morning and trying to get prepared for the running sports, and then
Oh
complete
man.
it, come to school, then attend. A lot of times I used to be so late, and then
Dude.
used to like go home, no school today. So
Yeah.
so many great
Man,
experiences.
that's crazy. So you definitely understand. You definitely understand. Oh my God. Some people used to ask me, yo, how do you do it? How are you a professional athlete and working and like finding time to study? Like, do you not have any time in your life? I'm like, I don't know, man. As far as sports, I love it. Like this is something I just love, and it's been instilled in me, and I've disciplined myself to do it for so many years. It comes like a part of life. And then work, I have to work to, to make some money. And then studying is like I'm studying out of desperation because where I'm working is not where I want to be.
Yeah, there's so much, so many similarities. You have done a bachelor's in information, like technology
Hmm.
related subject, and also you have done masters in, MBA, the business side.
Hmm.
So I have done the same. I have done engineering on computer science and engineering in in my bachelor's, and my master's in software engineering. Then after completion of that, I was
Okay,
trying to like,
awesome.
balance, being in that schooling and in college.
Hmm.
I was trying to balance my sports career. Like I was like growing even in that
Hmm.
side professionally. I was
Hmm.
being the captain of the top level teams in my state, and I'm responsible for that.
Wow.
And apart from that, you have to maintain your fitness. You have to, have that diet, and also apart from that, you have to learn technology. You have to attend the classes and have to clear the subjects. So it was a
Hmm.
lot of sports, that professional sportsman in me made me to
Hmm.
achieve what I achieved today. I can see the same
Yeah.
in you. Like, when you are telling like how you are able to crack these many AWS certifications. I have interviewed so many experts
Hmm.
from AWS. I never seen any person saying like you said, like it's like very small time. But I'm wondering, you are still like having these many certifications, you are not able to get the job. I'm like, I interviewed European, I interviewed Russian, China,
Hmm.
Japan, like more than 100 country people I saw having the certifications, lesser certifications than you, but having great
Hmm.
roles and having great positions. But if they
Yeah.
see this video, if they see, they hear you, like, maybe that sports person in you is making you do and things in the small time. Maybe people around you are
Yeah.
getting wondered because of that sportsman, that
Yeah.
mentality or
Yeah.
mindset is making
Yeah.
you do that. I do the same, like 100 things a day because habituated that mindset.
Yeah. Yes, bro. Yes. I think it's just maybe how we're wired. Like I don't know, it's almost like I can't just sit down and just do one thing now. It's like you doing those many things is what makes us tick, is what makes us move. And this is that's one of the reasons why I kind of was interested in cloud engineering and DevOps. There's just so many different tools and technologies that you can learn. You never really get bored. You're always studying. You always have to learn so many different things, and then being able to put everything together is kind of like it's almost kind of like you're like the certifications for me almost felt like a competition. Like, okay, beating this test is I won, I could do it, this test wasn't able to beat me, I put myself to the test and, just being able to, when you do sports, the internal love for it is trying to see how far you can take your physical body to be able to do something special. And a lot of times you don't even know what that special thing is. But when it happens, you're like, yes, I trained so many years for this to happen, for this championship, for this moment. So like taking that into, like the professional world, it's like you're always trying to figure out what's next, like, conquer the next battle, conquer the next project, complete something like especially when you're like troubleshooting. That's when that's when the athlete really comes in me. When I have an issue and I have a problem, I'm like, okay, let's get it. Let's figure this out. This is not gonna beat me. I'm gonna conquer this. You just start going in, going in, going in. And that stuff is fun to me, man. That stuff like is exhilarating really.
So cloud engineer and DevOps engineer. So how much you learned?
How much I learned in cloud
Yeah,
engineering as far as
yeah.
like the
Also
pro
DevOps.
yeah, so as far as cloud engineering goes and especially DevOps, I think, you know, we focus so much on collaboration, which to me is like one of my big strengths and just trying to advocate for. DevOps is when you bring the developer side and the operation side, you're merging it together to try and like the software delivery for the customers, make that quicker, more efficient, and delivering it to them quickly. Being able to make updates and doing it very quickly. And I think for me in general and moving forward, like that's where I thrive. That's where I understand. Because I realized that my strengths are collaboration, communication, and empathy, and that's like one of the things that a lot of engineers don't have. The soft skills of being able to talk to people and, and understand them. And, when you're in the middle of the developers and operations, you become that synergy, that person as, DevOps. You become that person that kind of brings those two worlds together because a lot of operations people don't really understand that, developers and how they think and how they want things to be done. So being the person in the middle that you become the mediator and that's where I felt like this is where I fit. This is the place that I can thrive. This is the place that I can and use who I am naturally to like in the workforce. And that's why I just love DevOps and love like cloud computing and the future, like where cloud is going. From Turks and Caicos Islands in the Caribbean, and over here cloud computing is non-existent. Like every company here is on premise and they may have some stuff in the cloud, but it's not like they're not using Azure, it's using like any main public cloud infrastructure. It's just everything is on premise. So they're like years behind. So when I talk about cloud computing, when people hear me talk about it here in Turks and Caicos, they don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Or they do know, but they know that their business is like 6 to 10 years behind. So if I'm trying to find a job locally here, I can't find them because they're so far behind. I'm like, they don't have any cloud anything for them to be able to offer someone like a specialty specialist who is able to understand these technologies. So for me, um, like thinking more globally, more internationally, and a lot of people here in Turkey thinkers can't really comprehend that because we're so small that when you talk about some stuff like that, it's like they can't fathom it. They can't really understand because the world is just when you're from a small place, the world just seems so much bigger, you know. And me traveling to USA and being there for 8 years, schooling and also getting better in athletics, training and stuff, being there for 8 years, being exposed to, first world country, um, unlimited opportunities, everything that they have to offer. When I came back home, because right now I'm back home, it's like I've been exposed to so much that being back home is almost too small for me. You understand? It's almost too, like, I'm thinking so big that it's hard for me to get that same energy, get that same feeling from people here, because one, they haven't seen it, because they're stuck between the small walls of Turks and Caicos. They haven't been exposed to it, and they see it on TV, but they don't understand it. I've seen it first world in person, and that makes a difference. Being exposed to it in person makes a difference. So, I also became an AWS community builder this year, which was another insane. Like, I got accepted to the AWS community builder program, and part of that program is being able to advocate for AWS and cloud computing, and just exposing and educating people based on resources and everything um, to different sets of people, whether male, female, from different careers, diverse areas of the world. And when I got accepted to that program, one of my goals was that I am going to try to sensitize and demystify cloud computing in Turks and Caicos. If I can get just 5 people to come and understand, like, I can teach them cloud computing, just 5 people to get certified in AWS, I feel like that's a huge goal. Just 5 people.
So, uh, do you want to relocate if you get a job in other country?
Yeah, I'm open to relocation, definitely. I feel like I can do more in the place, in the area, or I have more opportunities in those areas. Turks and Caicos is, I mean, if it's remote, I'd love to stay here too, because we got beautiful beaches, beautiful sun. It's like vacation here. But every once in a while, you do want to be exposed to all the opportunities that is possible in many different countries around the world. As an athlete, for me, I've been fortunate to travel to over 35 different countries, and I've gone to over six out of the 7 continents in the world. I've gone to Brazil, Canada, I've gone to China to compete, Africa, and like Morocco, South Africa, Australia. Like, I've gone to all these places to compete. So as far as being exposed to the world, I've done that, and and like, right now, that's a part of me. I've been exposed to so many different people from different countries, different cultures, different creeds, that, like, I can't just stay in one place now. Like, I need to visit people, interact with new people. I love meeting strangers here. Like, the greatest thing for me is when you meet a stranger, and then you find out you have so much more in common than you think you know. Like, you can meet somebody on the other side of the world, and you start talking to them, and you're like, oh shoot, like, you find something common. Like, that's the greatest feeling for me, because you tend to realize that humans aren't that much different.
So, what level you participated in sports?
Yeah, so I've gone to the highest level is Commonwealth Games. I don't know if you know Commonwealth Games. You have World Championships, you have Commonwealth Games, and then you have regional championships like CARIFTA, CAC Games, which is Central America, and the CAC Central America and Caribbean. And then you have NACAC, which is the whole of North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. Like, games like, so representing my country at the highest level. The only one I haven't been to was Olympics, but I went to the Olympic trials for UK. I came fourth, so they only chose the top 3 to represent the country, but I was fourth, which was kind of tough to not make the team by one spot. But the highest and the greatest competitions was World Championships, man. You got, and Commonwealth Games. The last one I went to was Commonwealth Games in it was in UK. It was in Birmingham, and we had over 80,000 people in the stands. Man, that's exhilarating, man. Because I'm a long jumper, right? So we do the clap. I don't know if you know the clap thing. So you get a long jump, You get the clap going. You got 60,000 people clapping for you. Oh, yo, no better feeling, bro. No better feeling. You come down, everybody's watching you. See, that's what drew me to long jump. Because when you sprint, you have like 100 meters, you have 10 people, you have 8 people in the lane. So when you run, everybody's focusing on everybody. But when in a long jump pit on the runway, it's only you. So when it's your turn, you're the only person there. So you can like interact with the crowd and the crowd gets to see only you perform at that moment. And I love that feeling.
And what is the highest award you got?
So I've got, well, I have the national record for Turks and Caicos, national record holder in long jump and some other events, but mainly long jump because I'm a long jumper. And Commonwealth Games, 3-time Commonwealth Games finalist, and NACAC under 23 champion, NACAC senior bronze medalist. I've won mainly medals at these international games, and then I've gone to a couple pro champ. Oh, this mosquito. I've gone to a couple pro competitions. One that was my biggest one was the one in Brazil when I came third and won some good money at that competition.
So really, it's amazing that you're being in sports are playing for top level, like international level uh, uh, sport, and
Mhm.
also you are great in technology. So professional, you are pro in both. How
Yeah,
this worked
yeah.
for you? How you did this?
How I would say I think it came from when I was in USA. Um when I was in when I was doing my undergrad degree in information systems, I just always felt like athletics was my thing. I was gonna be the highest paid professional athlete. I'm gonna go to Olympics and come first. Like that was where I was looking at where I'm gonna go. So that drive was always there in athletics. Um, and then my parents are Nigerian, so I'm from African based household. So when it comes to academics, like that was also the number one thing they drilled in our head every single day. Like you gotta come top two in class or nothing else. So we didn't have like no matter how far I drifted off into athletics, like I still had to make sure my academics was there, and I had to make sure that whatever career I chose was going to be something that could take me, could help me after athletics was done. Because you don't know how long you're going to be in the sport, but I made sure to choose a major that I could fall back on, in tech or in technology, which is exactly what I did now. Because even though after I graduated, I didn't have any tech experience, I went into sports for my job, but that degree is what I was able to kind of just as a foundation to start building off of. A lot of stuff is crazy because you go to school for 4 years, and then if you work in an industry that's not what you went to school for, a lot of stuff you just forget. So it's kind of like, what were you doing for 4 years if you can so easily forget some of that stuff? But then when I started my journey to become a cloud engineer, when I started studying for those certifications, I realized that the stuff that I learned in school didn't necessarily disappear. Like it still was there. And as I was studying, I was like, oh, I remember doing this. I never understood it then, but now I understand it. Like, why didn't I understand it then? This is so easy. So it's like you're going through it again, but this time you're actually wanting to do it and you're doing it by yourself and you're doing it with your own methods. You're doing it on your terms and it's something that you love. So I think it just stuck more in my head. And but I think being able to balance all of that was just it just came with a passion of athletics was something I love doing, and I was using school and I was using a job to help the resources I got from those to help propel me in athletics and see how far I can get there. Because when I went to school in the United States, I was on a full athletic scholarship. So they paid for me to go to school for me to run for the school. And that was insane because back then I didn't even know that was possible. It's like you're gonna pay me to go to your school for free just to run for your, for your university. So I did that for 4 years. And then, my master's degree, they also ended up paying for that too, so I could continue to train and use the facilities over there. So it ended up being engraved in me that, even though track and field wasn't going to be forever, I was going to use the resources from the school, being able to pay for my school, and the resources from working to help propel me to where I wanted to go in athletics, how far I wanted to go. A lot of these companies, these schools, these whatever, I wouldn't say they don't care about you, but they're using you for a purpose, right? When I went to school over there, they used me so I could get the school points. I could go to the championship meets. I'm wearing the school uniform, so I'm representing the school. So when you leave, they're gonna get somebody else. So it's like they're just getting you to, I don't want to say use you, but they're using you and your talents during that time. So if you're smart, you use them too, right? They're paying for your school. So you use them like, okay, I'm going to let you pay for my school. I'm going to use this to help me to get to where I want to get to also. So it's a mutual benefit. But a lot of people don't really see it like that. They see it like, as like, they they feel like they need to depend on these people, depend on these schools. And then like when these schools kind of like ditch them, or like you graduated, like you're done, they don't know what to do now because they felt like they've been accommodated, they've been shielded by this person or this company who sponsored them. But you understand that while you're in it, you have to kind of think in the future and kind of see how you can leverage the resources that you have now to help you to where you're trying to go. So that's what I did.
So how you are able to do completely different certifications in AWS? Solutions architect is different from advocacy. So how, uh, what thinking way you have, or what kind of mindset made you to, understand it and get
Hmm.
it?
Yeah. So I have a formula which I always tell everyone that I use when it comes to AWS certifications. They have like three of the best instructors in the world right now, which I use them. Stefan Merrick, he has a video course on Udemy, and you have Neil Davis, who also have video courses and practice exams, and they have a guy named for Tutorials Dojo, which is John Bonsu. John Bonsu has practice exams for AWS certifications. So usually when I'm attempting certification, I'll use Stefan Merrick, go through his video course, do all the hands-on practice stuff because no matter how much you watch a video and you understand it and you read a theory, like you have to put in the work in the AWS Council or CLI, and you have to like put in hands-on work because hands-on work gets to make the theory stick in your head because you actually went through the process of, like, if they ask you in the exam, how do you deploy a multi-AZ database? If you've done that, you don't even have to think about the theory. You just remember, oh, I remember doing this. I remember doing this. It's like step one, step two, step three. Like that, that clicks more in your brain than you trying to memorize the video or the theory that you're doing. So I always watch his video course first because he has a lot of hands-on, work in it. So you just follow him and you do the hands-on stuff. And then I go through Neil Davis's practice exams because the practice exams help to show you where you're lacking, the gaps in your knowledge. So if you do a question and you realize you don't know the answer, you get it wrong, they usually have the explanations of the correct answer and the wrong answers at the end of each question. So when you do a question, you read the explanation, it kind of solidifies what you don't know. Um, so even some things that you get right, you do a question and you get it right, you read why you got it right. Because sometimes you may think you got the right answer for a different reason. You read it and you learn more. Like you get to understand, oh no, this actually does this, but I got it right. But there's a deeper reason why I got it right. And then also knowing why a multiple choice question is wrong helps you understand even better. So when you go into the exam and you take it and say you don't know the answer, right? But you're able to eliminate which answer is not correct because you know the ones that are not correct. Even if you don't know the one that's right, you can tell based on the question which one is not correct. So that's my formula. I go through the video course to do the hands-on stuff, and I do practice questions, and I find out the ones I got wrong, and I understand why I got it wrong through the explanations. And then the number one thing that you can do, another thing that you can do, not number one, another thing you can do, which is even better, is do projects. Projects. So for the solutions architect associate, they have a lot of questions saying, hey, I have an auto scale EC2 auto scaling group that's fronted by a load balancer. Um, yeah, they usually would say something like it's fronted by a load balancer. So if you do a project that you deploy EC2's auto scaling group in a public VC, a public subnet, and then you front it with a load balancer. When you do that, when you look in the exam, you're like, oh, I've done this already. And like half of the questions after that, it starts like that. You have an EC2, auto scaling group fronted with a load balancer. Like when I was taking the exam, because I already did it, that first line, when I see EC2, I'll just skip to the next part because I already know what they asked. I wouldn't even read it because I already know what they asked. So like that is kind of like the art of being able to study for the certifications and pass them. Now, when I started going through the program, the Level Up in Tech program, we were doing a lot of projects on AWS, a lot of projects. So I realized that the more projects we did, when I went to study for another certification of AWS, I wasn't learning. It was more of I was proving the stuff I already learned, I already know. So I'm taking the exam, and it's like I already know this stuff. So now I don't have to study to know so much. I already know it. So now I'm taking the exam, I'm just proving that I already know it. So that's why like people who are already in the job market, people who are already working on this stuff at work and have on the job work experience, it's so much easier to pass these exams because you work on the technologies every single day. So when they ask you what's the steps to do this and this, you're like, yo, I did this at work yesterday. So this is easy. You already know what to do. So so for those who don't have on the job experience, just trying to mimic some of those questions and do it yourself as a project, it makes it so much easier to pass the exam. So much easier.
How ChatGPT is helping in cloud engineering or DevOps engineering?
Yeah, ChatGPT is huge, man. I mean, just for me, it's very big on troubleshooting. I mean, you still have to Google, you still have to go on Stack Overflow sometimes, you still have to find more information. But like, if you're working on, say, Terraform and you have an issue, you have a error come up or cloud formation, you can just copy that, put it in ChatGPT, like the error, and it'll give you like responses based on what might be the error, what might be the cause, and you can go through step one, step two, and figure out what the question is. Like it makes it so much quicker. So the troubleshooting phase of you having to take maybe an hour can be limited into like 10 minutes because ChatGPT is already screening through the entire internet and giving you what's relevant. And you're like, oh shoot, that's easy. That's the answer right there. And you just, so like you're more efficient, super more efficient, man, when it comes to troubleshooting, because I feel like as an engineer, troubleshooting takes up most of your time. Like that there takes up a lot of your time. You can build a project, you can think about it, conceptualize it, build it. But once you start testing and there's issues and there's problems, like that is where most of your time goes. So yeah, being able to use AI and ChatGPT to help you in the troubleshooting process in general is just going to help more, even the DevOps, because DevOps is all about automation and efficiency. So like that becomes even lightning speed, more efficient, more effective. You can get projects done more quicker. You know, I don't advise putting your code into like ChatGPT because of security reasons, but you can um you can edit the thing like how you want to, or just like snippets and just ask it, hey, different prompts and stuff like that, and listen. I feel like we're just touching the surface of what's going to happen in the next 5 years. Like this stuff is going to be explosive.
So, what projects you have done in DevOps? What kind of
Yes.
projects?
So we can start from just using Python for automation. and using the Boto3 library to interact with AWS services. So you can use Python to say create a script to spin up EC2s or stop EC2s. Say for an example, you're working in a company and you have different EC2s, virtual machines. You have some in production and some the developers use, and there may be hundreds of virtual machines that spin up that developers use. Now, at the end of the day, say at 8 p.m. when the developers go home, you can make the script run automatically to shut down all the development virtual machines and then spin them back up in the morning. So that saves money, saves time, is more efficient. Nobody has to manually do that. So that was like a great project that we did. So and I don't and also in that project you had production virtual machines up too. So in that project you had to so in that Python script you had to differentiate in the script only take down the development tagged or development labeled virtual machines because each virtual machine was labeled production or development. So to go through all the development, all the virtual machines and only stop the development one. So that was a pretty nice project we did. It incorporated Python, Event Bridge, and using Lambda for serverless computing, which was pretty great. So another one we did was building a three-tier architecture. We have the presentation tier, the application tier, and the database tier. So you build that with in a custom VPC, virtual private network. Um, and then you have the presentation tier, which is you have virtual machines there that interacts with the internet. So you go on Google.com, you go on Amazon.com, that first page you see is the application tier being served from the application tier. And then the, no, sorry, being served from the presentation tier. The application tier is more logical operations where you know, do a lot of Python stuff. And then the database tier, which is at third, um, bottom tier is interacting with the middle tier to be able to store all the information and that is the back end of the application. So we built that from scratch on what do we use AWS, and then we also did it on Terraform. So Terraform was huge. At the end of the program, we used mainly Terraform, and I loved that because earlier we were using CloudFormation, and when we got introduced to Terraform, I was like, this is like 10 times better than CloudFormation. CloudFormation is horrible. CloudFormation is AWS's infrastructure as code service, which is okay, but Terraform is like so much better. So I remember in Terraform, we're able to, spin up a project and then create a CI/CD pipeline to be able to automate that process using Terraform Cloud. So I got exposed to a lot of Terraform, and then I wrote every project we did. We wrote blogs about it. So I have a Medium account, so every project I did is posted there. And when I started posting about Terraform, I started reading out like a lot of people, a lot of organizations, like people from organizations were messaging me and like, hey, like your products are really good and your technical documentation is really good. Like we would like for you to write for us. I was like, what? Like I just started Terraform like 3 weeks ago. What? It's like, yeah, like the stuff you're writing is high level. Like you really put in the work and I like that about the program because when you write these documentations, you kind of give your personality, who you are. You're not just writing step one, step two of what you did. You kind of put a different flair to it, like your personality in it. And for me, like I wrote a lot of different scenarios and making it easy to understand. Some fun scenarios like explaining what Terraform is based off of like a pizza shop or something like that. And when you read it, like it's using real world like stuff that everybody do or use to kind of explain these concepts. So I think a lot of people appreciated that.
And do you know how to deploy an application using EKS?
Yes, we were able to do that. So we actually use Terraform to deploy on AWS using EKS. Like I got we start well, I didn't get that much exposure to Kubernetes. We did like 3 weeks of Kubernetes, Boy, Kubernetes is a monster. I'm not gonna lie, like, oh my gosh, like I remember our cohort the first week we were exposed to Kubernetes, and Kubernetes was like the last month of the cohort of the 6 months. So everybody was finishing projects like the first 4 days. They would give you the project on a Sunday. You finish it the first 4 days. When we started doing Kubernetes projects, people were finishing on the last day. Like half of the class didn't even get it done. It was so hard. Like like just understanding Kubernetes on a fundamental part, like that was very tough for us to understand. So it's hard to build up on projects if you don't get the fundamentals of Kubernetes. So I think that's what like held us back. But then Kubernetes is tough in itself for anyone. So it's not that easy, but it's fun though. It's something I definitely want to go deeper into because as far as the industry of DevOps and cloud engineering, Kubernetes is I hate to say it, but Kubernetes is the future, man.
And have you done migrating an application from one server to another server?
Say that again.
Have you done migrating an application from one server to another server?
So we've done being able to migrate applications from say on premise to AWS, but it didn't have much say refactoring or anything like that. So you just like lift and shift migration. So because a lot of applications would maybe um, require you to have to like completely change the architecture to be able to deploy it on AWS. So we didn't go that too deep. We just had like say it's just a regular server, and then you just lift it, shift it, and move it to AWS, and just getting the grasp of understanding that on-premise stuff can be moved to AWS for any reason. Say you want to back up, or you want to duplicate something, or be able to have fail over to the cloud.
So that's great. I'll share your web
Mhm.
links with my audience. People who find our video on YouTube can see your work and can learn from you.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Thank you.
So at last, as a professional athlete, as a person who represented different levels of sports, also who have achieved different levels of certifications in AWS, and also have done masters in MBA and also uh, bachelors, and also now you're becoming a coach, you're becoming a trainer. Now,
Mhm.
as a lot of personalities and professionals in you, what is the combination of that person, what he's saying about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Oh yeah, I've watched shoot the video. I remember the video I watched with you. What's the one? We interviewed the guy from AWS. And he had pink hair. Oh my God. That blew me away. I was like, what? So I'm trying to understand, how do you get these people? Like, well, I know how you messaged me, but like, how did you get that dude to interview?
So it's a network. I created a network and it is going everywhere on the planet.
Oh, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I love it.
So how, what is your observation about my work, about all my videos and my,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think first of all, I think I commend you on what you're doing. You're first of all, you have passion on what you do and what you love. And you're seeking out and you're doing this thing, and like I said, when you interviewed the person from Amazon, like a lot of people think that's impossible, but you were able to do it. And that doesn't necessarily like any like it doesn't mean that you're more special or you're better than anybody else, but you are the one who was daring enough to put yourself out there, to be able to ask someone of that stature, hey, do you want to do an interview? And I think you inspire and motivate a lot of people to be able to push to what they love, push to what they're passionate about, and nothing is too far, nothing is too big for you to accomplish. If you have a dream, no matter how small, if you take the first steps, step one, step two, and you just keep going, it's like you're the perfect example of that. And the platform that you're building is, you're exposing so much to so many people around the world who don't know these things, who aren't able to understand these things, or these people, and you're bringing different personalities to people, which is extremely valuable. Yeah, I don't know what um, career you're trying to go into, but I think you being able to interview people and being able to educate and just be a spokesperson, and you really should look into developer relations. I don't know if that's something you thought about.
Yeah, I interviewed experts who are from that role.
Yeah, bro, like think about it, because these companies, like, they want someone who is able to go out there and do daring stuff and to reach out to a community and build a community and expose their technologies and what they stand for to the world, And I think you have the personality, I think you have the drive and the passion, and this is what you do, this is what you love, and you just be getting paid doing it.
It's extremely valuable, your feedback and your words about my work, because you have represented top level sports, as well as you have done top level certifications and in AWS. Like your observation, your words about my work, extremely valuable. I'll definitely store these words all my life. I'll
Yeah, for
I'll
sure,
put
man.
this in my laptop.
For sure, man. Yeah, man. Definitely just continue what you're doing, man. I can see there's great things gonna happen. Like, if you just continue, man, when you talk about building a community, man, like, there's endless possibilities, and you're on the way to do something massive, you know. Just keep
I
going,
did
bro.
I did something different that I interviewed people who works in NASA.
Oh my God. Bro, you see, like, it's crazy. Like, I was watching some of your videos, man. I'm seeing some people. I'm like, what? Wait, I didn't interview this person. Like, so when you asked me to interview, I was like, oh shoot, I gotta get on this. I gotta get on this, man. This guy. Yeah, man. Well, kudos to you, man. I mean, even to be able to convince people to talk to you is a big thing, because a lot of these people are busy. A lot of these people have so much things going on. Like, for them to take their time out, like, you have a like special art. You have a special thing that you have, that you're able to reach out to people, and they can come and speak to you. So I don't know how you do it, but you got me. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad to be part of your part of your thing, man. For sure.
So all the people that are watching this from anywhere on this planet, what do you want to say? They can be in different professions, or they can be in
Mhm.
technology in different levels, who will be hearing you, that you have learned in your life that may work for them and that will benefit them in their development or in their growth.
Yeah, no, for sure. So based off of, my life and what I've learned and to where I am, being so diverse and doing so many things, I realized that one, you have to, you have to have a dream. If you have a dream, I'm sorry, if you have a dream of something that you want to do, never believe that it's not possible. Never believe, always believe that it is possible. And then once you figure out, and once you believe that it's possible, then you set goals to attain that dream. You know, once you can do that, the sky is the limit. If you never give up, trust me, you'll be surprised what you're able to do if you never give up. And there's something that my coach told me. Was like, you have to you have to own your power, and you have to own your power, meaning, like, a lot of times we go through life and we tend to blame, external things of why this isn't happening, why am I not in this situation. But then he told me, if you want to be great, or if you want to make a change in your life, you have to make that decision for yourself, and you have to do it. So you always have to look internally first and say, if you want to do this, if you want to change your situation, if you want to be this, look in yourself and then say, this is what I'm going to do. And then create a path, you create a plan of how you're going to achieve it. And then during that path, let me tell you, it's not going to be easy because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. If it's something worth getting, it was not going to be easy. So you have to pursue it relentlessly. You have to pursue it almost like a madman, like you're crazy. Like people are going to think you're crazy, and that's okay. Because at the end of the day, when you accomplish it, you're not going to be crazy anymore. Everybody's going to be looking like, how did you do it? So that's what I'm saying, man. Just you have a passion, you have a dream, you go for it no matter what, relentlessly and with great passion, and just don't give up, don't let up, don't let the outside noise, what other people think, what other people are saying to discourage you. You know the goal and you know what you want, and you go for it and with all your might.
So even one person who is watching and listening to the words that you're saying, if they change and if they grow or if they develop their skills or their mindset and for the positive change in them, you will be the reason for their growth and for their happiness and for their smile.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Now I'm good. I know, I realized a while ago that part of my purpose in this world, I think, is to just leave people with joy and passion when once they interact with me and leave me. So a lot, this world is there's a lot of struggles and a lot of pain in this world, and a lot of people need hope. And if I can interact with someone, and once they leave, I feel like they have hope to pursue whatever they want. I think I've done my job with interacting with that person on that day, and I feel like that's part of my purpose.
So definitely, you did it, and I'm sure this is a big contribution to the world from you through my platform. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for your valuable time and sharing some of your experiences and answering to some of my questions.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you for having me, man. I love what you're doing. I'm going to continue to, root for you and continue to watch your videos and just see, continue to see where it goes from here. Thank you.
I'll put your work on my website as well, on my personal website. People who finds out,
Hmm.
my who visits my website can see the projects that you have done, can see the work that you're doing, can see the contribution that you're doing. Anybody who comes to my site can see your work, and in that way, I can help people to learn from you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that, man.
Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Sure,
And
man. The
also,
world got to see.
And also, can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yeah, you can drop it anywhere, man. Good.
So, thank you again for your valuable time and your valuable presence and for your valuable experience that you have shared.
For sure. Thanks for having me, man.
Take care.
All right, bro.
Bye.